Hello everyone, Davos here. I just got my steering wheel and pedals. Really excited to use them. I have practiced a little bit with a variety of cars, but I have never driven this. I have never driven this in Assetto Corsa. I have not driven this in real life, obviously, and I haven't driven it with pedals before. I think the last time I drove a Miura was in maybe Gran Turismo? No, Forza Horizon. Fun game, but not terribly accurate. By far and away, one of my favorite cars of all time. It's beautiful. It's not exactly the color I want, but I can't get the color I really want in this game. I love this red. I love the gold. It's just so cool. Revolutionized what a supercar was. Revolutionized what a supercar is. It is the foundation of today's supercar. 3.5 V12 located in the middle, which is actually inspired by one of my other absolute favorite cars, the Mini. Which is weird to think that the Mini, a small, cheap, urban runaround, inspired one of the greatest and most influential cars of all time. And it's just because the designer of the Lamborghini decided that he still wanted the long hood and the short deck. Well, actually, it was a bunch of almost like college students, just like me, just tinkering around at the end of the day going, hey, what if we put the engine behind the driver? Something like that had started happening in Formula 1, but they never made a car long enough in the rear to fit that kind of drivetrain, except for like the Ford GT40, which was a very special, very one-off kind of car. When this car came out, they had a transverse, which meant instead of long ways, it's sitting sideways, which the engine couldn't be too long, which is incredible because it's a V12, which is 6 cylinders long. But because they were able to package it horizontally with the transmission underneath of it driving the back wheels, they could have that, still have that short rear long hood that they were looking for, that cars were looking like at the time, but that incredible engine, that incredible layout helping it with its balance. Now, a problem with a lot of these, people have always said, is that because the fuel tank's at the front, when you start getting low on fuel, it starts lifting up. So we'll see if Assetto Corsa does anything like that. We'll see. Again, I've never driven this car in Assetto Corsa. This is the first time pulling it up. Hopefully it goes, and I'm not going for laps. I'm not going for anything. This is actually one of the hill climbs. So I'm just going to have a nice Wednesday afternoon cruise. So let's get going. Now it shakes violently. I have no clue why. Oh, this steering view is just... I don't have a shifter, but I am using the clutch, so it is weird using a clutch and the paddles at the same time. It makes a tremendous amount of noise. And like I said, very first time really using pedals. First time on this kind of map. It's not like these things are valuable or anyways. Did these things stall? It would be great if I could get some Matt Monroe going in the background. Get my nice Italian sunglasses. Whoa. How fast am I even going? It's like 30 miles an hour. No, that's RPM. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh. No one's gonna let me drive their car in real life. If they ever see this. Luckily, I drive a manual in real life. So I can I'm okay with just cruising at about 40. Put in 4th gear and just cruise on up the hill. Now I am building the simulator, if you guys see that in the other videos. It's raining outside. I really don't want to work in the garage when it's raining outside. It gets far too humid. And as you can see, I'm a larger gentleman. Sweat happens pretty frequently. And I'm not, like I said, not trying to like destroy it. It drives very well. Let's give it some go. Whoop, whoop. Saved it. So I do drive a manual at home. I've got a Hyundai Genesis with a 3.5, I'm sorry, a 3.8. Oh, what am I talking about? It's not a 350. 3.8 V6, 6-speed manual. It's a wonderful car to drive. I thought I'd like it a lot more than I actually do, which is surprising. Probably going to get some feedback about this, but I think it's way better than an Infiniti G37. It doesn't have that pomp. It doesn't have that pomp that a G37 has, but it also doesn't have the parts that a G37 has. Can't find anything for it. Any ideas, any projects anyone wants me to do with my car? Certainly open to ideas. I'm just doing this before class starts, so I'll probably have this uploading during my class. Sorry, Dr. Post. Oh, it's such a nice car. Such a nice car to drive. I also just really don't know this road. So I'm just cruising, having fun, not hammering it. Oh, looks like a pretty heavy braking zone here. I'm having a little bit of issue with my brakes on this car. If anyone's got any ideas of how to make it better, the pedal seems really stiff. Like I really have to stand on it to get it to actually 100% brake. Not the kind of brake I meant. It just drives so nicely. I mean, granted, this is one of the very few cars that I have driven with a steering wheel in Assetto Corsa. I have driven quite a few with controller, and I realized I'm a lot faster with a controller than I am with a steering wheel right now, but I've been using a controller most of my life, so... It's funny, I was talking to my brother. I was like, you know, it's the first time I'm not used to driving a car with a steering wheel. And he looked at me and said, how do you drive a car without a steering wheel? Well, I meant in a video game, not in real life. I mean, obviously, I drive with a steering wheel in real life, not a captain's wheel or something. I don't drive a minivan. I don't have a minivan with a giant captain's wheel on it or something. Little story that I've heard about this engine. It's a 3.5 liter V12. I have heard that this car actually came very rare. I don't know how many were made, but I heard that it did have a straight 6 in it, which was basically just this 3.5 cut in half. So that would make it a 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.75, 1750cc straight 6. Oh, that's tiny, but the way it would sound would be phenomenal. Whoa, I thought that was a car coming the other way. That's weird. Really wiggly. I have no clue how long this track is. I have no clue where I'm at in terms of being done. Just kind of cruising. While being the first supercar, it wasn't track focused, even though this engine was a race engine created by one of Lamborghini's employees. It was designed for racing, but they had to just detune to 400 horsepower at the time. Crazy. I wish I had 400 horsepower in my car today. I get the feeling we're coming towards the end here, but we'll see. Not doing too bad, just, like I said, just cruising. Just kind of rambling, one of my very first videos coming out. You know, just don't want everyone to go, oh my god, this guy just crashes everywhere. Sod it, let's go. See what happens when I try to drive fast. Alright. Back onto it. Really want some Matt Monroe. If there's a tunnel, I'm not going in it. And for those of you who get that reference, A+. One of the greatest car movies of all time. Original Italian Job. 1969? 67? Or was it earlier? Couldn't have been. This car didn't come out until the late 60s. I think it was 66, 67. And this was I wouldn't say hero car, but it was the first car you see in the movie, along with a bulldozer and a bunch of Lancias and Fiats. Nope, don't go in the tunnel, Lamborghini. I know you want to. Alright, I'm going back to cruise mode. This whole speed thing isn't really working for me right now. Plus, I have no idea my way around here. Usually I've got brake lines turned on just because I'm terrible. I'm just kind of going with the flow and reacting here. Driving how I would in real life, so... I mean, this car, it's so cool that you can just cruise. It's a fantastic GT car. You can just cruise. It's got a little bit of a trunk. You can put stuff in it. But when you want to, and the feeling gets it to you, you can just go hog wild with it. Maybe not that wild with it. Did I just stall? I think I stalled. Oh, don't want to split it in half. So maybe a little bit about me. I don't know how much time we have left here, but a little bit about me. I'm currently in college, community college, doing 2 years at community college for a mechanical engineering degree that's going to transfer to a 4-year university. I'm in my first year. I know I'm probably seem a little old. I'm 27. This is my 3rd time going to college. So hopefully 3rd time lucky. Everything's been going great so far. I love my teachers, except, you know, I decided to go back to college, and what happens? College all changes to online. Current issues aside, I've always been fascinated with cars. I've always been fascinated with planes, trains, boats, anything. I used to say anything that moves people moves me. And it's still true today. I want to be a mechanical engineer because I want to work on cars. I want to be a mechanical engineer because I want to start my own car company. Ferruccio Lamborghini, Dr. Ferdinand Porsche, heck, even Enzo Ferrari, Henry Ford, they're all inspiration to me. Porsche had a fantastic quote. He said he couldn't find the sports car of his dreams, so I built it. He said, I can't find the sports car of my dreams, so I built it. And that just resonates with me. Something I seriously want to do. Lamborghini started his company because he found out that he was a long-time Ferrari customer. He found out that the Ferrari transmissions were the same that he was putting in his tractors. Basically, Ferrari told him to get lost. He said, hey, just go away. You don't know how to build cars. And he said, well, I can build tractors, and if you can build cars with tractor parts, then I can build a tractor with car parts. And this is what he made, the Miura. Well, it was the 3rd car he made. First car was the 350 GT. Which was, at the time, Ferrari had come out with the 250 GT. And Enzo Ferrari had the 250 GT. Lamborghini went, well, my car's 100 times better, so I'll make the number 100 times bigger, or I'll make the number 100 bigger. So that's why we have the 350 GT, and then later, and it's got that same 3.5 V12 that came out of this thing. It's in this thing. I'm towards the top of the hill. Same 3.5 liter V12 that's got in this thing. Ferrari then came out with the 300, I believe. And Lamborghini did the same thing. He said, well, you know what? Mine's 100 better too. So mine's now the 400. And he just, I mean, it was a giant pissing match, but it was fantastic. Just like Ford versus Ferrari. I know that's hot news right now. Ford versus Ferrari. Hank the Deuce was like, come on, Enzo. I don't care if it costs 3 times as much as I was gonna buy you out. I'm gonna beat you at Le Mans. And he did. Another gorgeous, fantastic car, Ford GT40. But that is why I want to be a mechanical engineer. And oh goodness, I love cars, but I also love trains. When I was a little kid, I used to watch Thomas the Tank Engine, and I said, I want to be a train engineer. I want to drive trains. And I said, I want to be an engineer. I want to be an engineer. And then I found out what an engineer really does. And I was like, that's cool too. I'm going to do that. I don't just drive trains, I can build trains. I thought that was the coolest. I was really lucky as a kid. my parents, one of my parents, their job moved us around all over the country, all over the world actually. And in late 1999, my family moved to Hong Kong of all places. Very interesting because it was just right after the British handover of Hong Kong to the Chinese. Very interesting times, very, very, very interesting. But I was 6, so I didn't really think too much of it. I just knew I learned a little bit of Chinese. I ate a lot of food. I love food. Another thing I absolutely love. After Hong Kong, we moved to Guam, small Pacific island, U.S. territory, small Pacific island in the middle of the ocean. Learned how to scuba dive. Is that the finish line? Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Boom. 17 minutes. Here we are, bottom of the hill, going up again. I'm going up again. So, Hong Kong, then Guam. Learned how to scuba dive. Lived there for a couple of years. Then we moved to New Jersey, which, if you don't live in the U.S., New Jersey is a separate country. It's very different from the rest of the U.S., as I learned. When we lived in Guam, everything was on island time. You could be a half hour late for things and people thought you were early. You could sit at a stoplight from it turning red. It can go red, green, yellow, red, and no one would care. You could sit through an entire cycle and no one would really care because everything was on island time. It didn't really matter. Moved to New Jersey, second the light turns green. Meh, get out of the way. Keep moving. I got things to go. I'm so used to people talking slowly. So used to people talking, you know, slowly. Go to New Jersey, everyone talks a million miles an hour. Whoop. But had a ton of fun, met a lot of friends. After New Jersey was Virginia for a couple years. That's where I graduated high school in Virginia. Learned how to drive there. Very different to driving in New Jersey. I achieved the rank of Eagle Scout at that time. Super cool. It's not something you see every day. Whoop. I think I hit that on the way up too. After Virginia, my folks were in Thailand, and I was at the tender age of 21 when I lived in Thailand, and could experience it for everything it was worth, which is a lot. I highly recommend going. If you got the opportunity to go do it. It is fantastic. The people are so nice. The food is incredible. Never got food poisoning. Everyone's like, never got food poisoning. Never got sick from it. And that's where I learned how to sail. Something I wish I could do more. Unfortunately, boats are a lot more expensive than cars. And cars are a lot more expensive than a steering wheel and pedal. Well, not all the time, but good ones. So it's just... So in order to counteract that itch that I have to go sailing, I recently bought a remote control sailboat. Had a couple goes with it, and I was like, I gotta get my dad one, because he sails too. And he learned how to sail on a Hobie Cat on the Chesapeake Bay. A lot colder than the Gulf of Thailand, I'll tell you that. Had a fantastic time there. Did AmeriCorps. If you are graduating high school, you don't know what to do, you don't know if you're ready to go to college, maybe you know what you're doing, that's great. I didn't know what I was doing, so I did AmeriCorps. You got an opportunity to serve, which is something that I've done a lot of my life. I'm an Eagle Scout lifeguard, did AmeriCorps. So AmeriCorps was great. I went, fantastic opportunity to travel across the U.S., help people, do everything you can. I was able to help out with Hurricane Sandy when that hit New York. You learn a lot of amazing skills. You meet a lot of fantastic people. I have a friend who's a lawyer who's not more than a 10-hour drive away from me. I have a friend that's a lawyer who's not more than a 10-hour drive away from me right now. I could call him up and say, hey Pete, I need some help. But yeah, after I crashed someone's priceless Lamborghini. Hairpins. Priceless. So, went to Virginia and I worked for a car company, automotive, not a manufacturing company, not a lot of well, not that I know of. There's no car manufacturers in Virginia, but worked for an auto shop for 5 years. I made a stupid mistake and I got fired for it. I made a lot of stupid mistakes at that time, living on my own, thinking I know what I'm doing. Luckily, I have parents that care and that are willing to help me out, bring me back home, get me back on my feet. So I stuck with them for a little bit, only a few months. Then my sister and I moved out with her kid, my 4-year-old niece, and assistant that you've seen multiple times by now, who's in the other room being suspiciously quiet. Supposed to be watching her, but not. Yeah, she's okay. As long as she still has hair on her head when her mom comes home, everything will be fine. So now I'm living with my parents who live in... We grew up, a lot of our families on the East Coast, but now we're on the other side of the Mississippi, so it's a very different part of the country. Very interesting. Very interesting part of the country. Very different from what I'm used to. Everything is like a 30-minute drive away, at least 30-minute drive away from me. Whereas when I worked with the auto shop, I was less than a mile away from them. So we're gonna get some more. I will get some RC sailing videos up. I think that'll be a ton of fun. Maybe start going over some of the basics of sailing. I'm in no way, shape, or form an expert at sailing. And the sailboat that I have is fairly rudimentary, but it is able to go upwind, which is good. It's not like a Victorian longship or something. It's not like one of those really old long ships or tall ships. Tall, long, same thing, right? Ah, you can see I went off here before last time too. I'll do some sailing, maybe just like a long format sailing video. This video is going to be fairly long, but have fun with it, right? That's all. That's what this is all about. It's just having fun with it. Having fun with it, getting used to the controller. This is a great way. Something that's not too bitey. I mean, it can swing around on you, which you've seen. I know I've seen a lot of sim racers on YouTube have a camera for their feet, and you guys would all laugh at me because I'm gonna be. You guys would all laugh at me because I would be either barefoot or in socks, or in my racing sandals that I'm in now. I hit that wall on the way up last time too. I'm just having fun, and it's all it's about. It's just having fun and taking you guys along for the trip. I know I'm just rambling, but heck, maybe I'll even do some more. I'm definitely going to do some more science experiments. I love teaching. I don't want to be a teacher though, but I like teaching, I like helping, and I like seeing people learn and understand the world a lot better. So it would be so I love showing experiments to my niece, doing fun things like that. So if anyone's got any ideas, again, always open. Strong. Break. Gears are kind of funny in here. Oh, I'm sweating. Yep. So currently first year of my final shot at college. I just wish I could go meet people right now. Use a whiteboard, for God's sake. Use a whiteboard, for gosh sakes. Like, it's hard to do calculus without your teacher in front of you, especially Calculus 2, which is regarded as the hardest of the calculus classes, although I think the hard stuff is behind us. I'm not terribly good with it. I don't know if I'm being summoned. Oopsies, that's neutral. I thought there was a neutral lock. Oops. So yeah, that's Davos Space Worth in a nutshell. The name, Davos. I'm a huge fan of Song of Ice and Fire. Davos is by far and away my favorite character, obviously. Again, I love sailing. Davos loves sailing. Davos also loves being sneaky, so... Oh god, he needs power steering or something. Another games I will definitely be playing in the future will be continuing with Assetto Corsa. I have R Factor that I can do. I love playing BeamNG and automation. Just making ridiculous things, but also making very sensible things or trying to recreate things. I have a modern interpretation of what a Porsche 959 would be today. At least I think. My modern interpretation of it. Oops. My modern interpretation of it. So we'll see how everyone likes it. I also have my Genesis Coupe that I made. Then I've got like a 14-story London bus, so that's always a blast. Have not made a Miura yet, which would be very fun. I don't think I could get the Fiat 850 pop-up headlights to work, but we'll see. Might have to make it a modern representation of it, which is something that's really cool that I enjoy doing. Neo-retroism, or whatever they call it. Continuing my dream of being a car designer. I've gotten recently really heavily into Formula 1. Thoroughly enjoy it. And of course, as soon as I get into Formula 1, all the races get cancelled. Just my luck. Oops. Going up the hill. Into the Johns. Lovely. What really got me into cars? My parents gave me an RC model car from Radio Shack. They were like X-Mod or something like that. And it was a 1967 Pontiac Firebird, which has been my car. I know just about everything about them. Okay, I can't say that I know everything about them, but I love that car. I think it's better looking than the Camaro, and it's got bigger engines than the Mustang, and it's got T-tops and was driven by Burt Reynolds. What more do you want? The Trans Am was driven by Burt Reynolds. The Camaro was driven by Shia LaBeouf. Which one do you... I mean, which one? Obviously. Shia LaBeouf and Channing Tatum. Which one do you think is better? We have Shia LaBeouf and Channing Tatum versus Burt Reynolds and David Hasselhoff. Really? You're gonna fight me on that one? You're gonna fight me on that one? Trans Am's better. Although the Mustang has Steve McQueen and Richard Hammond. So, okay, they just kind of balance out. Ah! Also very into space. I love playing Kerbal. Hopefully when I get my sim set up, I also have a joystick and controller, HOTAS, going on. So I'll be able to play some space games as well. Alright, back up at the top. I think we've beaten our time. 17:10. Let's see if I can stop at the box. Okay. Oh, there we are. Fun stuff. Well, it's a lot about me. A little bit about this car. Don't know anything about this track. Probably just made up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Drive safe.